Parshat Ki Teitzei contains a passage of the Ben Sore Umore, the rebellious child. This is a son who is in his adolescence, and he steals meat, he steals wine, he's a glutton, he overdrinks, his parents take him to the Beth Din, he's warned, he's lashed, and if he continues with his behavior, he's executed. And the Talmud says, why? He didn't commit any type of capital offense. It says he's nidon al shem sofel. He's judged because of what he will become. Because if he continues his habit, he's going to steal, he's going to rob people, he may even murder people to continue to feed his addiction. And therefore let him die now when he is innocent rather than when he is guilty. This is a very unusual passage, difficult to understand. And as the Talmud points out, it actually never really happened. But what exactly is it that the Ben Sore Umore did that was so wrong? Ramban Nachmanides tells us as follows. Two things. First of all, he has utter contempt for his parents. He treats them in a very, very bad way, shows them a complete lack of gratitude for the fact that they raised him. But secondly, he goes against the Torah's injunction in the book of Vayikra, Kadoshim Tihiyu, you shall be holy. And Nachmanides explains, he has a very novel interpretation, that what the Torah means by that is that you should sanctify yourself even in those areas which are permitted to you. Don't become what's called a menuvel b'reshut Torah. Don't become a degenerate with the permission of the Torah. How can you become a degenerate with the permission of the Torah? Well, you have a person who eats meat and meat and meat and meat, and somebody will tell him, you shouldn't eat so much. You'll say it's perfectly kosher. It's the best possible kosher meat. You shouldn't drink so much. This wine is kosher. It has a hersha. Yes, it's all permitted, but you have to consume it. You have to enjoy it in a moderate way. And don't allow the Torah to give you permission to act in a degenerate way. This is how Nachmanides explains, Kadoshim Tihiyu, you shall be holy. Sanctify yourself, even in those areas in which you are permitted. We, the Jewish people, we are allowed many different pleasures. We're allowed to marry. We're allowed to have an intimate relationship. We're allowed to eat meat and drink wine and do all types of wondrous things that perhaps in other religions they're not allowed to do. But we have to do it in moderation. We have to understand that it's a pleasure, and when one gets caught up in pleasures and luxury, they become a degenerate. In fact, the Talmud tells us that a person can be tested in one of three ways, and it's a play on words. Bekissel, through his pocket, his wallet, how does he spend his money? Bekasel, what happens to him when he gets angry? And bekosel, with his cup, how he behaves with his cup of wine. Does he behave like a drunkard? Unfortunately, we've seen throughout the COVID pandemic here in South Africa that they've had to prohibit the sale of alcohol because this country is a country that is a Ben Sore Umore. It's a wayward child. It cannot control its drinking habits. And when people overdrink over here, there's terrible carnage on the roads. People are beaten up. There's abuse against women and children. And unfortunately, in order to curb this, there had to be a prohibition. The Torah tells us no. Live a greater life. Live a holier life. Sanctify yourself even in that which is permitted. We're not going to say you can't have wine, but do it in moderation. Behave. Don't become addicted. Behave like a person who is sanctified and holy. I wish you a Shabbat Shalom.